Welcome to Burkina Faso. Sorry for the rush, but we had to fly you in as fast as possible so the investigation could begin. As you know, Ibrahim Traore, Africa's youngest leader, came to power through a military coup in 2022. Cheering crowds greeted their new president, hoping he would be able to turn the tide against the Islamist insurgency in the north. Since then, Traore, or IB as people call him, has launched a series of ambitious economic reforms. He's also tried to mobilize the civilian population through village defense groups. He's moved away from France and America and aligned himself with Russia and the military governments in neighboring Mali and Niger. Such massive changes have brought a lot of attention to the Traore government. In the past 2 years, multiple coup attempts have been thwarted by loyalists. In January, the government claimed to have uncovered a bomb plot targeting Traore's quarters. In May, shots were heard around the presidential palace, although the gunman was later subdued. Media outlets connected to the government claim 18 assassination attempts have been made so far. The situation is complex. It involves the army, civilians, rebels, and international politics. As one of Africa's foremost political investigators, your assignment is to answer one question: who wants to assassinate Ibrahim Traore? The best place to start with your investigation is to look at the people around Traore. There are often tensions between the army and civilians sharing power after a coup, so perhaps someone in the government is plotting IB's downfall. Prime Minister JNIM de Damiba is not one of them. He rose to fame as a lawyer and TV commentator critical of government corruption. He remains unwaveringly loyal to Traore as long as the government pursues policies in line with Thomas Sankara's vision. I have already said that Burkina Faso cannot be developed outside the path set by Sankara. One of his first decisions in office was to lower the salary of the president and ministers. Since then, he has visited Russia and Iran to strengthen diplomatic ties. For the moment, the positive relationship between Traore and his prime minister connects the civilian and military sides of government. But there are some members of the political class who resent Traore's rule. Since coming to power, IB has put restrictions on local and international media organizations. This has had a big impact on journalists like Newton Ahmed Barry. Newton has long been an advocate for free speech and democracy in Burkina Faso. Since the military coup, Newton has become a vocal critic of Traore's decisions to ban media groups and delay elections. For his trouble, he's received numerous death threats online, eventually leading to his flight into exile. Alpha Barry is another journalist, former politician and critic of Traore who has lost out under the new government. He used to run the local Radio Amiga station before it was banned for airing an interview critical of the Nigerian authorities. He too has fled into exile. In July, Traore's defense minister claimed both Alpha Barry and Newton Ahmed Barry had been part of a planned coup to seize control of the country through Islamist rebels. Both Barrys have ties to the French government through their work with Radio France International, but it's unlikely they have made any connections with the Islamists in the north. The two journalists have been disenfranchised by the Traore government, but with local media now under government control, they can pose little threat. In recent months, the biggest threat to IB has come from factions in the army. One headache for Traore has been how to deal with Paul-Henri Damiba. In 2022, Traore helped Colonel Damiba seize power in a military coup. 8 months later, Traore launched his own coup, deposing his colleague. At first, the relationship was amicable. Damiba said he would resign on condition he and his allies were protected. Traore agreed, and the colonel went into exile in nearby Togo. Since then, Damiba has bided his time. Until, in July 2024, a particularly nasty attack by the Islamists left Traore in a vulnerable position. Then Damiba published an open letter to Traore criticizing his leadership and tactics. Traore's government pushed back by accusing Damiba of planning another coup attempt with factions within the military and Islamist rebels. Several high-ranking military officers were arrested or had their assets frozen. Since Damiba is currently in exile in Togo, it would be tempting to assume that Togolese government is a major opponent of Traore. Togo is part of ECOWAS, the economic community Burkina Faso has withdrawn from because of its ties to France. But both countries are reliant on each other as trading partners. For this reason, Traore continues to describe his relationship with Togo as one of fraternity and solidarity. 3 months after Damiba penned his critical letter, Burkinabe and Togolese officials signed a new tax agreement. The same cannot be said of Ghana, which has become a major thorn in Traore's side. In September, Burkina Faso accused Ghana of helping to sponsor the supposed terrorist coup masterminded by Colonel Damiba. Many Western news outlets reported this accusation with some skepticism, but then, a month later, Reuters confirmed that Islamist insurgents were being allowed to use Ghana's northern border to arrest and recover during fighting with the Burkinabe military. Insurgents bought fuel, visited hospitals, and even recruited locals to go fight over the border. Some people wondered if Ghana was just reluctant to address the issue, or if it was turning a blind eye on purpose. Ghana has close ties to America, whilst Burkina Faso has moved towards the Russian sphere. With the revelations from Ghana, it's worth considering the accusations made by Traore against Côte d'Ivoire and Benin. He has accused both countries of working with France to undermine stability in the country. Western powers like France and America have watched with concern as Burkina Faso has moved out of their sphere of influence. Thomas Sankaro's assassination in 1987 was rumoured to be supported by France. Would the French government act like this again? Indisputable evidence connecting France to the attempted coups is hard to come by. However, there is the case of the 4 IT workers sent by France to work with the Burkinabe government. They were arrested in December 2023, and police found sensitive information about Burkina Faso and contact details on their work phones. Although France insists these men were not spies, and they simply made some errors, they continued to be held in prison. The USA, for its part, halted $160 million worth of aid after the military coup in 2022. Its Voice of America outlet often publishes articles critical of Traore's government. Behind the scenes, its actions remain veiled in secrecy. Traore's biggest problem, his enemy number one, are the Islamist militants who threaten daily life in the north and east of the country. The scourge of extremism spread into Burkina Faso from Mali and North Africa in the 2010s. French peacekeeping missions failed to resolve the problem. JNIM is connected to Islamic State, but also profits from cross-border criminal networks. Recruiters draw on resentment in the north of the country, where ethnic Fulani people have been marginalized. Little economic development takes place, meaning joining a local militia is one of the few viable ways to earn a living. Traore sees his economic development projects as part of the war effort. Factories and tractors are as important as guns in combating jihadist propaganda. The government is quick to see other threats hiding behind the Islamist enemy: jealous neighbours, aggressive superpowers, treasonous factions in the army, even pro-democracy journalists. Some of this is surely wartime propaganda designed to unite the population. But there is also evidence that West Africa, and the West, is not as unified in its opposition to insurgency as one might expect. So, who do you think wants to assassinate Ibrahim Traore? For more information about international scholarship opportunities for Africans, why not check out Kupanda Digital Academy? And for more videos like this, like and subscribe to the Africa Review.